Welcome you for the session and greetings to you. We will learn about the foundations of logical reasoning and emotional intelligence through this. The reason I had put the two topics together because it is important to balance our intellect with emotions in all the walks of our life. It helps us to be complete, efficient, and productive for ourselves as well as others. Since there are so much to learn under logical reasoning and emotional intelligence, we will look at it in 4 parts to have a break and digest the learnings. First of all, we will try to define what is logical reasoning, why logical reasoning is important, what are the classifications that logical reasoning have. As I have mentioned here, logical reasoning is the process of using a rational, systematic series of steps based on sound abstracts or procedures and given statements to arrive at a conclusion. Basically, logical reasoning uses the facts, uses the information that are represented in works or in pictorial forms, and uses the information or research abstracts that are based on already defined things, and it is basically for identifying a solution or coming into a conclusion of something. So the reason why logical reasoning is important is because it is part of most of the competitive exams, from the school level competitive exam to college entrances to job recruitments. It is widely used. Even for the government services and non-government services, logical reasoning tests are playing a very crucial part. And logical reasoning judges the analytical skills. It helps us to understand how we make choices, how we define different processes, different procedures, how we are factual, how much we are thinking about different things that are around us. Logical reasoning is classified into two. Basically, it could be verbal logical reasoning or it could be non-verbal logical reasoning. We are going to look into it in detail. Now we will understand what is logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, and what are the classifications in it. Logical reasoning, verbal reasoning is the ability to understand and logically work through concepts and problems expressed in words. From the title itself, we could derive the explanation of the topic. So, verbal, it resembles words. So, in verbal reasoning, every concept or every problem is represented in different means for us to think through it and identify the solution. Logical reasoning, verbal reasoning is further categorized into 20 subtopics, as we could see here. It is number series, letter series, analogies, cause and effect, verbal classification, blood relations, logical sequence of words, direction sense test, logical Venn diagram, verification of the truth of the statement, data sufficiency, coding, decoding, assertion and reason, essential part, analyzing arguments, logical problems, course of action, matching definition, syllogism, statement and assumptions. We are going to look into each of the subtopics in detail. Here we know about logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning, and how it is classified. Logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is the ability of a candidate to understand and logically work through concepts and problems expressed in the forms of images, diagrams, and so on. So logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning involves pictorial forms, involves different diagrams, different shapes, and it helps a person to work through different shapes and helps to visualize different things. Logical reasoning, non-verbal reasoning is classified into image series, construction of shapes, classification, picture analogies, rule detection. We are going to learn about it in detail. Let us now look into the application of logical reasoning. As we had seen earlier, logical reasoning tests are very crucial in all the competitive exams from school level to college level and even to job recruitments. It is also a vital part in the competitive exams for government services and public sectors. Also in specific, logical reasoning is very much important to assess the applicant's knowledge in investment banks, accountancy and professional services firms and consulting firms. In personal, logical reasoning is very crucial for the self-development, and it helps us to analyze different things, and it enhances our thirst for truth. It also increases our thinking, and it helps us to be effective in what we do and what we process. It also enhances our creativity, helps us to try out different things that we have never thought of. Now we will start looking into different subtopics that are in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning. The first one is number series. So number series involves basic arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication or division of numbers in a series with a definite logic that may be simple or complicated but could be found by thinking. Usually math involve basic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication or division, and the number series usually comprises of those, and in addition to that it sometimes makes it complex with two or more basic operations together. The number series could be in 8 different forms as follows. Number series could be an arithmetic sequence, like it involves addition or subtraction. For example, 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on. In this series, 2 is added in every place. Then it could be geometric sequence in which multiplication or division is involved. For example, in this series 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 8 and so on. Each place is divided by 2. And then it could be an exponent sequence. It may be perfect square, it may be perfect cube, or it may be so on. In the sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and so on, each place has the power of 2. Also, we could see an example for perfect cube sequence in which 1, 3, 9, 27, and so on. In each of the place it has 3 power. And the number series could be a 2-stage sequence. Sometimes 2 sequences can overlap with each other. For example, in the sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 7, 16 and so on. It could be seen as 2 individual sequences like 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on could be one sequence, and another sequence could be 2, 4, 8, 16, in which it would be a multiples of 2. Then the number series could be mixed sequences, like in the sequence 2, 4, 10, 28, 82. The sequence would be derived by using powers of 3 plus 1 in each of the place. And it could be alternating sequences, like an example 3, 8, 15, 24, 35, 48. It is derived by adding alternative numbers like plus 5, plus 7, plus 8, which is also a sequence. And then it could be special sequences, like an example 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. In this sequence, the first two places are constant and all other places are derived by adding the before two numbers. So this sequence is called as Fibonacci sequence. And another example is 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, in which each number could be divided by its own number or 1 only. So that is called as prime number. At last, number series could be a combination of sequence. For example, 3, 3, 3, 6, 3, 9, and so on. This sequence could be seen as two sequences, in which one sequence would be 3, 3, 3, 3, and so on, where 3 is constant, and another sequence could be 3, 6, 9, and so on, in which 3 is added in each of its place. Let us look into some examples of number series. What would come next in this sequence? 80, 10, 70, 15, 60. You may guess your answer. The answer is A20. So this is a two-stage alternating addition and subtraction series. In the first pattern, which is 80, 70, 60, and so on, 10 is subtracted from each number, and in the next sequence 10, 15, and so on, 5 is added to each number to arrive at the next. Let us look into another example. It is F2, dash, D8, C16, D32, and so on. You may guess what would come in the place where it is blank. So the answer is E4 in C. Let me explain this. This is a combination of numbers and alphabets, an alphanumeric sequence. In the first place, the letters are descending by 1 in its value, and in the second place, the numbers are multiplied by 2 in its value. So the answer would be E4. We will see one more example. It is 9, 13, 22, 36, 55, and so on. You may guess what would come next. The answer is 79 in A. We will look into the explanation of this. From the starting number, the series is obtained by adding 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, and so on. Or it could be seen in another way too. So it is derived by adding 4 into 1 plus 0, 4 into 2 plus 1, 4 into 3 plus 2, 4 into 4 plus 3, 4 into 5 plus 4, and so on. Now let us know about letter series. which comes under the classification of logical reasoning, verbal reasoning. So number series is a logical arrangement of letters of English alphabet that are arranged in a specific pattern. So we all know the alphabets that are in English. There are many ways the alphabets could be rearranged, or it could be made in a way that it makes us to think and find a solution. In this letter series, it could be a group of letters that are combined together, or combination of letters and numbers, or it could be series of letters that are mixed up in a specific pattern. Letter series could be in 7 different forms. It could be increasing by a definite number, like an example, A, G, M, S, Y. In each place, the letter is increasing by 6 places to its right position. Next, it could be decreasing by a definite number, like an example, X, V, T, R, P. In each place, the letter is decreasing by 2 in its value to its left. And then letter series could be increasing successively, like D, E, G, J, N. In this sequence, the letters are increasing as a sequence itself. It increases +1 in its value, +2 in its value, +3, +4, +5 places, and so on. And letter series could be also decreasing successively. An example, Z, Y, W, T, P. The letters are decreasing in its value by 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The places are decreased successively. And letter series sometimes could be decreasing and increasing by a constant value. Like an example, D, F, C, E, B, D, A, and so on. It decreases in 2 places from D to F, and it decreases 3 places from F to C. At the same time, next, it increases from C to E by 2 places and decreases by 3 places from E to B. It continues successively, like decreasing and increasing is alternative. And letter series could be an alphanumeric series. It may contain both alphabets and numbers. We had also seen an example in number series. We will also look into an example for alphanumeric series in letter series. An example is Z1A, X2D, V6G, T21J, R88M, and so on. In this, there are 3 series that are twined together. First, we will look into the first letters in each places. So it decreases by 2 to the left in each of the places that are successively increasing, and the third letter is increasing its value by 3 places, and the numbers are gradually increasing, but the order needs to be found out. So it is increasing like 1, 1 into 1 plus 1. The 1 is derived from the previous place, and next 2 into 2 plus 2. The 2 is derived from the previous place, and the second change is meant to multiply and to added. And the third change, that is 21, is derived by taking the number from previous place, that is 6, and multiplying the number of change, that is the third change, that is 6 into 3 plus 4, and it continues like that. At last, letter series could be continuous pattern series. It could be like a sequence of letters that are continuously followed by the previous same letters. An example is A B A A B A A B A. If it is seen combined all together, it doesn't make any sense and we could not remember much. But when we break down into something that is repetitive, continuous, we would be easily able to remember that and identify what is exactly followed. So this series, we could see that ABA is repeated again and again. We will look into some examples of letter series. So the first example is FAG, GAF, HAI, IAH, and so on. You may guess what may come next in the series. The answer for this series is JAK in A. So let's see the explanation for this. The middle letters are constant and so we need not worry about that. Then the first and third letters are having slight changes. The series involves an increasing alphabetical order as well as decreasing alphabetical order. So the first letters are in increasing proper alphabetical order. The third letters actually are increasing from the first letter and decreasing from the first letter. So from this we could arrive at the conclusion. The answer is JAK. We will look at another example. ZA5, Y4B, XC6, W3D. You may guess what comes next. So the answer for this sequence is VE7 in D. Let us look how it arrives. So this is also a series that contains 3 sub-series. So 2 letter series and a number series. Also when we look at it, in each place it goes higher. It also changes its places within itself. For example, in the first segment it is ZA5, the letter comes in the last place. The second segment, the letter takes second place and it goes alternatively. So we'll look into the 3 series. The first letter Z is decreasing 1 by its value when it goes next. So it is like ZYXWV. And the second letter A is increasing its value by 1 when it goes next, but it also changes its place from second to third as it moves on to the next segment. So it continues alternatively. Also the number is a 2-stage sequence, so it moves like 5, 6, 7 alternatively and 4, 3, 2, 1 alternatively. Also the number changes its place from third to second, second to third in its places. We'll see the last example in letter series. So it is P5QR, P4QS, P3QT dash P1QV. You may try to identify what will come in the blank space. So the answer for this is P2QU, that is mentioned in C. Okay, we will look into the explanation now. So in this sequence, we could see that the first place and third place remains the same in all the segments. P and Q remains the same. The numbers decreases by 1 when it goes to the next place, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so on. And the letters increases by 1 in its value, and it is like RSTUV. Now we shall know about the third subclassification in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning, that is analogies. An analogy is a comparison in which an idea or a thing is compared to another thing that is quite different from it. It aims at explaining that idea or thing by comparing it to something that is familiar. Metaphors and similes are tools that are used to draw an analogy. Basically, analogies compare two different things that are quite unfamiliar with each other, that are quite uncommon with each other, but just for the explanation or just for the concept derivation, we use analogies, and most of the analogies uses metaphors, similes and other figures of speeches to explain something. Let us look into some example of analogy. So petal is compared to flower. So using this, you have to find out what is the best answer for analogy. The answers are salt compared with pepper, tire to bicycle, bees to ball, sandals to shoes. And the answer for analogy is tire compared with bicycle. Let us know the explanation for that. A petal is a part of a flower, whereas all other options other than tire being a part of the bicycle is not compatible. And now let us look at the fourth classification in verbal reasoning, that is cause and effect. So there are a lot of information that are available around us. Usually some statements may be completely independent, and some statements would be dependent on each other. In which there is dependency, there are a lot of chances that one statement could be effect of another statement or another happenings that are mentioned. So we need to carefully analyze different things and the relationship between the different statements for finding out solution or to explain something or to derive a concept. Let us look into an example for cause and effect. So the question is, standard of living among the middle class society is constantly going up since part of few years. And the second statement is, Indian economy is observing remarkable growth. So the options are A. Statement 1 is the cause and statement 2 is the effect. Statement 2 is the cause and statement 1 is the effect. Both the statements 1 and 2 are independent clauses. Both the statements 1 and 2 are effects of independent causes. Both the statements 1 and 2 are effects of some common cause. You may think through the answer. So the answer is in option A, that is statement 1 is the cause and statement 2 is its effect. Let us have an explanation for this. So basically, only when the standard of living of people in a country is developed, the economy of the country itself develops. Vice versa is not possible. So the next classification in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning is verbal classification. So verbal classification is identifying the particular category or characteristic in which group of items or patterns could be classified, and taking off that it's more different from others. It basically groups the things that are similar and takes off the things that are different. Let's see an example for verbal classification. So the question is, which word does not belong with the others? Option A is heading, option B body, option C letter, option D closing. You can guess the answer. The answer for this is option C letter. Let us look into the explanation for this. Heading, body and closing are all parts of a letter, whereas letter is a complete thing, a whole thing. It's not a part. So letter is different from others. The sixth classification in logical reasoning, verbal reasoning is blood relations. So blood relation is different relations among the members of a family that is defined already, which could be natural or acquired. Usually we are born and brought up in a family, and that defines the natural relationships around us. After a certain age, we or some member of a family gets acquainted by means of marriage or some other definite thing, and that relationships are defined to be acquired. Different terms are used for different relationships that are around us. Father's son or mother's son is called to be brother. Father's daughter or mother's daughter is called to be sister. Mother's brother, younger or elder, is called as maternal uncle. Father's brother, younger or elder, is called as uncle paternal. Father's sister, younger or elder, is called as aunt. Mother's sister, younger or elder, is called maternal aunt. It continues like son's wife is called as daughter-in-law. Daughter's husband is called as son-in-law. Sister's husband is called as brother-in-law. Husband's brother or wife's brother is called as brother-in-law. Brother's wife is called sister-in-law. Husband's sister or wife's sister is called sister-in-law. Husband's father or wife's father is called father-in-law. Husband's mother or wife's mother is called mother-in-law. Brother's son or sister's son is called nephew. And brother's daughter or sister's daughter is niece. Uncle's daughter or aunt's daughter is cousin. Uncle's son or aunt's son is again cousin. Father's father or mother's father is grandfather. Father's mother or mother's mother is grandmother. Father of grandfather or father of grandmother is great grandfather. Father of grandfather or father of mother of grandmother is great grandmother. We'll see an example for blood relations. So pointing to a photograph of a boy, Suresh said, "He is the son of the only son of my mother." How is Suresh related to that boy? We can try to find the answer. So the answer for this is father. It's mentioned in D. If we look at the question, the boy in the photograph is the only son of Suresh's mother. The only son of Suresh's mother is Suresh himself, and the person in the photograph is the only son of Suresh's mother. So ultimately it is the son of Suresh. So Suresh is the father for that boy. So we had come into the end of part 1 of logical reasoning, verbal reasoning. Here are the references for that. You may use these references for further learning about the different concepts and different topics that we had learned. And that's for this session. Thank you so much for listening.